I'm Matt Brooks from Like a Storm.
So, how are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
It's actually our first tour of Europe.
Okay,
first
that's
time
great.
we've ever been here. It's our second show in Germany, but it's the first time we've ever been here. Yeah.
So, how do you like it so far?
It's amazing. You know, we've spent the last 5 years touring in America, and all of our friends and bands over there have told us for years how we have to come over and play Europe. So we're very excited to be here.
Yeah, is it any different? I mean, you are from New Zealand, you moved to Canada to tour the US, and now you flew to Europe.
Yeah. It's funny because New Zealand is more European than we ever realized.
Yeah.
You know, we grew up in New Zealand, which obviously is modeled on Europe, but we never really appreciated it because we'd never been to Europe before. So even though we've never been here, we feel really at home.
So, what are the similarities? Is it like the attitude of the people, the food, not the landscape? I'm sure.
You know, actually, kind of the whole thing. You know, the way all the buildings are designed and the cars, and it's funny because other than the parts of Europe that are, you know, from sort of medieval times, modern Europe and modern New Zealand look exactly the same.
Okay.
So even New Zealand even has a similar landscape. It has a lot of, you know, farmlands, and it's really green. So even though we've never been to Europe before, to us it seems really familiar. So we love it.
Yeah. When you moved from New Zealand to Canada, was it like did you feel like taking a very big risk, or was it just the logical next step to do?
I mean, I guess it was a risk, but we always thought of it like a big adventure. You know, we had a dream of playing our music, you know, as our job, and that's what we wanted to do with our lives. We loved playing music, and we loved playing together. And so for us, moving to North America, even though it was probably a crazy idea to everyone who knew us, to us it was just like a big adventure.
Yeah, it does sound like a fairy tale. You know, yeah, let's just move to
We're
North
just gonna
America.
move to the other side of the world. But it's been awesome.
Okay. Yeah, and you got picked up by Century Media last year.
We did, yeah.
Does it already feel like a big success to you?
Yeah, I mean, we were really excited when Century Media approached us, and a big part of the reason was we knew they had such a big presence in Europe, and we'd been really lucky. We've got to tour in America with a lot of really big bands. We'd never been to Europe, and when Century Media approached us, we kind of knew that was our best chance of coming over here. So to be honest, you know, they've put out the album in America, the record's now out in Europe, it's coming out in New Zealand and Australia, so it does feel like a dream come true. Yeah.
Okay. Did moving to North America influence your music, or did you move there because the music landscape fits your style?
I think more the latter. You know, we grew up listening to all different kinds of music, but we always loved to play hard rock. You know, to us that's always been our favorite combination of kind of heavy guitars and heavy drums, but with, you know, choruses that you can sing along to. And I guess in hindsight, we grew up listening to a lot of American bands. So we wanted to move to America and use that as our next step, I think, because the music that we love is so popular there. And what's been amazing is to come to Europe and find that it's even more popular here.
Yeah, because it's not it's very similar to American hard rock, but it has additional elements, like, you know, like a didgeridoo and crazy stuff. So how did you come up with that idea?
Well, my brother Chris, who's our lead singer, he learned how to play the didgeridoo after a vacation to Australia. When we were growing up in New Zealand, our grandparents used to live in Australia. We used to go there every year for a holiday. Chris brought home a didgeridoo after one vacation, and he taught himself how to play it in about 3 days, which is crazy because it's like one of the hardest instruments on earth to learn. And as soon as he could play it, we knew that we had to start using that in our music, just because it was like the most amazing sound we'd ever heard. And it's been a progression over the years to find new and kind of interesting ways to incorporate the didgeridoo into a hard rock band.
Yeah, it's an unusual instrument. It's not quite a trumpet, but the same principle, right?
Yeah, well, it's the oldest wind instrument in the world.
Okay.
And the original ones, it's literally a hollowed out branch with beeswax on the end, designed by the Aborigines in Australia. And Chris's ones are custom made by an artist friend of ours called Brian Leavitt, and his ones are made out of PVC plastic because they're indestructible.
Yeah.
So you can take them on the tour, you can take them on the road, and nothing happens to them.
Yeah, that was my next question. I mean, a didgeridoo, traditional instrument, isn't it going to get ruined by stuffing into the flight case or stuff?
And it does, and it did. So initially, Chris would play traditional ones, and the first thing that happens is, if they fall over, the beeswax, which forms the seal, the mouthpiece, shatters. So the didgeridoo's fine, but you can't play it. So we would turn up to gigs and Chris's didgeridoos would be unplayable. So he started designing these ones made out of plastic. I mean, you could literally hit a baseball with it and nothing would happen to it. And it's kind of been cool because they sound slightly different too, because they're made out of plastic. They have a brighter sound, which actually fits better with heavy guitars. So it's been a kind of an evolutionary process, but the ones that Chris plays are sort of like a new version of them, a new version of the didgeridoos, and they fit much better with our style of music.
Yeah. So on the album, is that the plastic one or is that the original wooden one?
It's the plastic one.
Okay.
We actually did what they call A-Bing, where you play one and record it, and you play the other one and record it, and then you sit back and listen to which one sounds better. And we felt that the plastic one actually sounded better because it has a much brighter sound, and it's more able to be mixed in with heavy guitars and drums. Because of course a didgeridoo was never made to be in a rock band, so we use the plastic ones.
Do you actually get any downtime between touring, writing, recording? Or
Not really, but it's our own doing. We write and record and produce our albums ourselves. So it's basically like being the actor in a movie and then deciding that you're also going to be the director and you're going to do one other job as well. And it's what we love to do. So it takes up all your time, but it means that we get to make exactly the kind of music that we want to make. And a lot of bands these days are fighting so hard just to get to write their own songs or to get to choose what direction they go in. We're in a position where we can literally do whatever we like. So whenever we do have downtime, we always end up filling it up with music, writing new songs, recording stuff. Or often we have downtime and it fills up with people wanting us to play shows. So we're really lucky to be so busy.
Okay. So can you work with everyone you want? Do you actually get a lot of external influences on your records, or is it all you?
I mean, we have a lot of external influences because we're always on tour, meeting new people, playing with awesome bands. But ultimately, what's really exciting for us is that my brothers, Kent, Chris, and I, we're the ones who get to decide what direction the band goes in. And we had a really strong vision for our album, Awaken the Fire. We wanted to make a record where we could do things like have a heavy rock song that features the didgeridoo, and then go all the way through to an acoustic ballad like Ordinary. And a lot of people would say, well, you can't really put an acoustic ballad, you guys are this kind of band or this kind of band. And we've never felt that way. So we're really fortunate that we get to really follow the vision that we have.
Yeah. Another interesting song is Gangster's Paradise, which is a cover song.
Yeah.
It's from a very powerful movie, Dangerous Minds.
It is. Great movie.
Why did you cover it? Was it because you thought it's a great song, or because you liked the movie?
Well, I mean, we did love the movie. But to be honest, that whole thing kind of came about really organically. We were in the middle of writing our record, and Chris and I went out one night just to sort of get a break from the studio and talk to other human beings, and Gangster's Paradise came on over the speakers, and without realizing, we were listening to it with the mindset of making an album. You can't turn that off.
Okay.
So as soon as it came on, we just started talking about what an awesome song it was. We'd always loved that song. And then the more we listened to it, we started talking about how cool it would be if a band did a heavy version of it. And so when we went home that night, instead of going to sleep, we fired up the studio and started working on the song. And for the next few months, it became our sort of experiment. After we'd finished recording Never Surrender or Love the Way You Hate Me or Break Free, you know, these songs that we were supposed to be doing, after we'd shut them down, we would open up Gangster's Paradise and spend the middle of the night working on that. And by the end of the album, Gangster's Paradise was finished, and we liked it so much that we decided to put it on the record. People ask us, you know, if it was hard or easy to take it from a rap song into a rock song, and certain parts of it were really easy. You know, that intro keyboard part, which we play on guitar, just sounded amazing straight away. But rapping, if you sing rap, it sounds like Bone Thugs and Harmony or R&B music. It doesn't sound like rock music. So we did about 30 different versions of the verse before we found one that we thought actually sounded like the kind of song that we would do. Okay. So we just decided to do it because we loved that song and we liked how it had come together. And it's still one of my favorite songs to play live, just to see the look on people's faces when we start playing it.
You are 3 guys and 1 touring member, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think 3 is like the ideal size because you can always vote on stuff, or how does it work with you?
It's funny that you should say that, actually, because we do vote on everything. We have an incredibly democratic process that basically ends any disagreement we ever have. And it's especially powerful when it comes to producing your own music, because if any one person has too much control, you can kind of lose perspective. You know, it's your own music, you're producing it. You can, without realizing, you can kind of go off on these weird tangents. But with 3 people and being able to vote on different ideas, you can have a lot more perspective and not get caught up doing whatever one person wants to do. So we actually use the voting system a lot. Just because it's a good way to make sure that we're always doing what the majority of us think we should be doing. But the reality is we basically agree on, you know, 90% of what we do anyway. So that's part of the reason why we're playing together, because we have a shared vision for how we want to sound and the kind of band we want to be.
Yeah, it could go 2 ways with brothers, right? Either you fight all the time or you love each other.
Yeah, it could go terribly. I mean, you know, sometimes you fight, but to be honest, if you tour with anyone, you're with them 24 hours a day, 10 or 11 months out of the year, you're going to fight sooner or later. And one of the things about being family is that you speak your mind. Nobody sits back and nobody gets resentful. People say exactly what's on their mind, and then everyone moves on. So it's great. Thank you guys for listening, and to all of our fans, thank you guys so much for everything, honestly.